Hello guys, welcome back again to another tutorial. My name is Dorothy. In today's video I'll be sharing with you how I made this off-shoulder bustier mermaid dress. It's a bridal dress, and at the bust area, as you can see, it has a ruffle, a net ruffle. So if this is something you are interested in, please keep watching while we get right into the video. I will be using this beautiful Duchess material for this project. It's 3 yard and the length of this fabric is 60 inches. And also I have my drafted pattern paper ready. I have both the pattern for the mermaid skirt and the off-shoulder bustier pattern on this channel. If you haven't seen any of this video, I will leave the link of both video on the description box and on the end screen, and also on the card, maybe also on the comment section. So do well to see the video after watching this one. Now I will take my pattern paper and my fabric off camera and I'll cut each of the pieces out. This is what I have after cutting each of my patterns on the fabric. We will be working on the upper bodice first, which is the half length. So when I drafted this pattern, I didn't add any sewing allowance to it, but right here, as you can see, I added all the necessary sewing allowance. This particular dress is not for me. I'm making it for somebody else, and we are not using the exact measurement on the pattern. So while I was drafting, I made sure that I measured the person's exact measurement and I added all the necessary sewing allowance. As you can see, I have ironed my interfacing on it. I'm using paper stay both on the main fabric and on the lining piece. I'm using the same fabric for the lining piece. Okay, so on the front part, I'll keep this one aside. On this front part, I added a thicker wording on it. Yes, we call it wording. I will place my pieces like this, okay, right side facing each other. Then I'll turn it over like this and I'll go ahead and use my pin to pin this around the bust area. While doing this, make sure that you arrange the bustier area, that's this curvy area, properly. You go ahead and use a pin to pin it down. But in case you don't have pin, you can as well sew directly on it, okay? But while doing it, you need to be extremely careful so that your stitch will be neat. When I was done with this part, I'll place the second side front on the center front like this. Then I'll use pin to hold it down just like I did for the first one. When I was done pinning the side front to the side back, I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll sew all this curvy area that I just pinned. For the dart at the back pieces, I will fold in my dart like this. I already notched the dart area, then I'll sew from the top to bottom, and I'll do the same thing for the other pieces including their linings. This is what I had after I was done sewing the front piece. When I turn this to the right face, this is it. You can see how the bust area came out really nice and curvy. So right now I'll turn it back to the wrong face and I will notch all the curve area. While notching, please take time to notch properly or notch well so that you don't end up cutting through the thread and starting all over again. After notching the main front piece, I'll do the same thing to the lining as well. After notching, I'll take my pieces to the ironing table and I will use my iron to open the side that I notched. This is what I have after I was done ironing the same area of the bustier. You can see how beautiful this is. Now let's go ahead and work on the back piece armhole. Remember, when we are drafting our pattern for the back pieces, I didn't curve my armhole, so I'll be doing that right here. Now I'll arrange my pattern, my back pattern. You see that I already notched the zipper allowance, so I'll fold in my front piece like this and I'll place it on my back pattern. So now on this front piece armhole, I'll be tracing out the armhole for the back pattern. I will place this piece on the other back piece and I'll trim out the armhole on it, and I'll also do the same thing to the lining piece. If you want to modify the back neckline, this is the right time to do it. Yes, I modified my back neckline, but my camera didn't capture that part. I will be adding straps to this bustier, and this is totally optional. The length of this strap is 13 inches while the width is 2 inches. So I'll place my strap on the bustier dart area like this. Then I will use my pin to hold it together, and I will do the same thing for the second side. I will place the strap on the bustier dart area also, and I will use my pin together. When that is done, I will go ahead and place my lining piece on it. Okay, I'll place my lining piece on the bustier, right side facing each other. I will arrange the neck area properly, just as you can see me doing. Just follow the same process and you get the same result. Okay, I'll place my lining on it, then I'll use my pin to hold it together. After pinning my lining to the main fabric, I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll sew from the armhole to the neckline to the other armhole. Then I'll sew the both side, just as you see me directing. This is what I have after I was done sewing the neckline, the armhole and the both side. So now I will use my scissors and I will notch the neck area so that when I turn this to the right face, the neckline will relax properly. After notching around the neckline, I will turn this to the right side, and this is what I have the right side looking like. Now I'll take this to the ironing table and I will iron the neckline and also the side so it relaxes properly. As a tailor, after every stitch you have to iron so that it will give your work a very neat finishing. So after ironing, this is what I have. You can see how the outer is looking neat, and also the inner, you can see how neat it is. Now let's fix the strap to the back pieces. I will turn my front pieces to the wrong side like this. Then I'll place one of the back piece like this also, and I will place the strap on the dart line of the neckline, and I will do the same thing to the second back piece as well. Then I will place the lining pieces on it, right side to right side. Now after placing the lining, you can use your pin to hold it together, just as you can see me doing. I will take this to the sewing machine. I will sew from the back neckline to the armhole and also the both side, and I will do the same thing to the second piece as well. I will sew from the back neckline to the armhole and also on the both sides. And this is what I have after I was done sewing the back piece. Now I will turn this to the right face, and after turning it to the right face, I will take it to the ironing table and I will iron my back piece as well. Okay, this is what I have after I was done ironing my back piece. You can see how the both pieces are looking very neat and demure. Now let's go ahead and work on the skirt part. This is my skirt pieces. I have to do the cutting on the floor because the table could not contain it. And as you can see, I already transferred my pattern to the fabric. Like I said earlier, I am not making this for myself, so I have to modify my pattern paper on the fabric because I'm going to use this person's measurement. One good thing about pattern drafting is that you can use and use and use again. All you just have to do is to modify the measurement, whether you increase or you modify it to your client measurement. Okay, which is what I did right here. So I modified the pattern paper to my client's measurement and I added all the necessary sewing allowance. Now let's go ahead and join the skirts to the upper bodice. So here is my front skirt piece. I will lay it up like this. Then I'll take my half length, that is my upper bodice, and I'll place the front piece on it, right side facing each other. I will use my pin to hold it together. So because the skirt will not be having any dart, that is why you can see so much allowance on the side. But after joining the upper bodice to the skirt, I will trim that off. I will take this to the sewing machine and I will sew the waistline. This is what I have after sewing the front pieces. Now I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the back pieces. I'll place the back skirt piece on the upper bodice like so, right side facing each other. Then I will use my pin to hold it together and I will do the same thing to the second piece as well. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine and I will join the waistline. This is what I have after joining the skirt to the upper bodice. So now I will join my back pieces together, right side facing each other. I will arrange the both pieces very well. Then I went on to mark the allowance that I left for my zipper. I left 1 inch for the zipper allowance, so from the top I'll keep marking 1 inch all the way to the hip line. Then from the hip line I reduce the measurement to 1/2 inch. Then I'll use my chalk to connect all my points together After connecting my point, I'll take it to the sewing machine and I'll run a temporal stitch on the zipper allowance. This is it after running a temporal stitch on the zipper. So now I'll place my front piece and my back piece together, right side facing each other. What I did off camera, I used pins to hold the both sides so that it doesn't shift while I am marking my body measurement. I am working with Duchess stick and it is quite slippery, you know. So on the bust line, I divided the bust circumference I am working with by 2. The bust circumference I am working with is 37. 37 divided by 2 is 18.5, so I mark 18.5 on both sides. Then on the waistline, I divided the waist circumference by 2 as well. The waist circumference I am working with is 34. 34 divided by 2 is 17, so I mark 17 on both sides. Then I will use my chalk to connect the both points together. On the hip line, I divided the hip circumference by 2 as well. The hip circumference I am working with is 44. 44 divided by 2 is 22 inches, so I marked 22 inches on both sides. Then I use my chalk to just curve out from the waistline to the hip area like this. Then from the hip line, I will extend that line by 1 inch all the way down to the length of the gown, because you will not want any fitting at the knee area. You want it to be as free as possible, so that is why we extend 1 inch all the way down to the length of the gown. So now I'll take this to the sewing machine and I will sew the both sides. So this is what I have after I was done sewing the both side. So after sewing the both side, I decided to fix my zipper. So let me turn this to the right face so that you see what we have. So this is what we have. You can see how neat and beautiful it is. I have this net here that I will be using to drape on the chest line. So I'll fit this dress on the owner, then I will drape the net on the chest line. But if you have a mannequin, a pinnable mannequin, you can fit this dress on it, then you go ahead and drape. I will be starting the drape from this side of the back. So what I did was I used my hand to arrange one edge of the net like this. Yes, use your hand to make a plate on one edge of the net, then place it on the side of the back. After placing it, use your pin to hold it together. After I was done pinning the back, I will turn it over to the front side and I will arrange the net in pleats around the chest area. Then pin it. What I am just doing is a sketch work. I just want to get the drape effect on my client body, and after doing this, I will take it off camera and work on it properly. After arranging the net on the chest line and pinning it, I will take this remaining part all the way to the back, just as you see me doing, and I will pin it on the back like this. Now I will take this off camera and I will arrange the drape in detail. Then I will use my needle and thread to tack the necessary parts. This is what it looks like after using my pin and thread to tack it. Isn't this beautiful? If I did a nice job, give me a thumbs up by liking this video, comment on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you'll get more of this video. Thank you all for watching. See you all in my next one.